VSM Coaching and Consulting. So thank you for taking the time today to join me for this Lunch and Learn. Thank you for investing time in yourself and your personal growth. My background is 30 years in public libraries. 25 of those years was in library leadership. And as I progressed in my library career, the times which brought me the most joy were advising and coaching others, which is why I am doing what I'm doing now. I love supporting people who are motivated to improve their lives, and I'm ready to help everyone today complete a life audit to make changes so that you can experience the maximum happiness that you deserve and achieve all your goals and aspirations. We're going to do all that within an hour. We may not get it all done, but we are going to start to move in the right direction. So today's format is what I consider iron sharpens iron. This comes from the Bible verse, Proverbs 27:17. As iron sharpens iron, so one person sharpens another. This means that none of us are alone. And to make yourself better, there's a mutual benefit of making others better through mentoring, leadership, sharing, teaching. Today's format is going to start with me adding value to your lives with motivational insight. And then I want all of you to open and share your thoughts, insights, questions. I believe that we learn best from one another. And we're going to take the best of each other's knowledge, exchange that knowledge, and apply it to where it best suits in our lives. So consider this a safe and supportive place. And now that you know me, let's get to know each of you. I'd like you to share your name, where you're located, and a word that describes how you are feeling right now. And I want to say that right now, I'm feeling very excited. I'm excited to be sharing with each of you how to do a life audit and hopefully make some changes for the better in your life. Laura, do you want to go ahead and share where you're located and a word that describes how you're feeling?
Okay. Hi, Miles. My name is Laura Morris-Chicaro, and I live in Ashtabula, Ohio, so northeastern Ohio, right along the lake. And I'm looking at a lot of snow. Today's we've had a snowfall. I guess the word that describes where I'm at right now is probably trying to get to the point of rejuvenation. And that's one of the reasons of participating in this experience, kind of to rejuvenate where my mind is, to rejuvenate in terms of how I care for myself, and internalizing that will make me better care for others. Because I'm in a service community. It's my profession as a nurse, but also as a nurse educator. And so those are very important for me to possess, because I care for students as well as the community as a whole with patients.
Good. Thank you, Laura.
You're welcome.
Miles.
Excellent. My name is Miles. I'm a nurse. I work in dialysis, and I work as a nurses supervisor in nursing homes, rehab.
Wow.
Next month, I'm getting a challenge. I'll become the nurse manager on my unit.
Very good.
So I'm excited to be a part of, over the last couple of years, COVID has been very tough.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm hoping to rejuvenate at the same time, grow.
Wow. Wonderful.
An area that I'm challenged to do.
Wonderful. Thank you, Miles, and thank you, Laura. Both of you, being in the nursing industry, have experienced a lot of the same things. And you're right, COVID has been tough in many, many ways, in both of your lives. So thank you for staying committed. Thank you for serving. As we go through this today, you can make comments, questions in the chat, and I might address them as we go along, or I might wait until the end. Depends on where it best fits in. What is a life audit? A life audit is a pretty straightforward concept, and yet many of us can get hung up on it simply because the thought alone can seem quite daunting. So it's a life audit is when you take a long, detailed, honest look at various areas in your life, your relationships, work, finances, resources, physical health, environment, spiritual life. You're going to assess which is helping and which is not helping you live to your highest potential. It's a time to become aware of how you want to align yourself with your mission and assess your current situation to see how it alters from that. It can involve some honest soul searching, digging deep, and making some difficult decisions. So I'll warn you, it's not for the faint-hearted, but I know we can do this. When carried out correctly, they can be empowering and inspiring. And that's what I love to do, is to see people inspired and empower them to make changes in their lives. Whereas if you make a positive change in one area of your life, like your diet, you'll find that your work life improves. If you make a change in relationships, you're going to also improve your environment. It can be so powerful. But we're going to talk about areas where you might need to make some changes to align with your goals and missions. And I'll also discuss ways for you to implement those changes easily and what to look for as signs and signals in your outer environment that may indicate something may not quite be right in your inner environment. If you're taking notes, I like to apply what's called ACT, A-C-T, when I am at a speaker listening, something educational. Put an A next to something if you want to apply it. Put a C next to something if you want to change it. And put a T next to something if you want to teach it. Because not only can it help us, but it can help others. So a life audit is not a clear goal or idea regarding how you want your life to align, will not be effective unless you have your missions and goals clear. So you must have a clear idea of how you want your life to appear and how you want it to feel afterwards. Some people call it a mission. Some people call it a vocation, a calling. No matter what word you use to describe it, it all comes down to the sense of purpose, fulfillment, and achievement that we receive from integrating and balancing our work with our personal lives and our personal goals. So it might be that you see yourself cultivating a healthier lifestyle. That's wonderful, but what does it entail? Vaguely labeling it what you want can decrease your chances of achieving it. So you must examine your wishes, be critical in your approach and how you create your plan of action. A personal mission statement will help you articulate your values and your beliefs, determine your personal definition of success, and you're going to be able to share your talents with the world. You're going to be able to take that passion and help others. It's going to generate a sense of clarity and focus around what you're trying to achieve when you do a life audit. Keep in mind, everyone's mission is going to be different, no matter what field you work in, what your personal life looks like, or what your goals are. There's one key fact. You have to find your why. In Stephen Covey's book, The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, habit 2 is to begin with the end in mind. It means to start with a clear understanding of where you are going. By having that clear understanding, we can be intentional with our choices and our actions. The Franklin Covey Institute has an online mission statement builder online. And what I'll be doing at the end of this today, I'm going to be emailing both of you a resource page that's going to include all the different resources I mentioned. So I just mentioned the Franklin Covey Institute with their online mission statement builder. Laura or Miles, do either of you have a personal mission statement?
Sorry, I don't.
Okay, that's fine. That's okay.
And I have had a personal mission statement, but it was always related to the philosophy of teaching in regards to, because I've been in academia most of my life. So your philosophy always is related to someone or someone else that you kind of get lost along the way, at least in my sense of what I've been exposed to.
That's an excellent point, that we can get lost in what we strive to be or what we have been. And a personal mission statement can help you hopefully identify or outline who you really are, who you really want to be, based on your internal values, your core. So the best way to get to the bottom of your mission is to dedicate some time and just write. Sometimes we sit down and we feel like we have writer's block. What I have found is a practice is I will sit down and I'll just start writing everything. It doesn't matter the grammar, doesn't matter the sentence structure, but just start writing everything I think of. And here, let's think of the history of your life. Think ahead 10 years from now. So in 10 years, what would be your age? If you have children or a partner, what would their ages be? Where do you see yourself? What are you doing? Where are you living? Consider all this in 10 years. This is more than probably likely your ideal life. Think of the relationships, your career, environment, your passions. Okay. And then consider your current situation in those different areas. What does it look like? Be honest. If you were another person looking at your life, how would they describe that? And then we're going to take that life 10 years from now, and we're going to take our current life and we're going to compare them. What steps do you need to take to get from your current life to your future life? This exercise can be very helpful to clearly show you which areas of your life where you need to focus. What are the biggest changes that you need to make? It'll help you gain some clarity. For me, 10 years, I want to be financially independent. And that's just not meaning I'm relying on my spouse and I'm not relying on the salary from a company or an organization. I will have the flexibility to set my own schedule. So now how do I get to there from here? The reason why clarifying your personal goals and mission statement is so important lies within the power that we all possess to create and manifest our desires. In his book, Everyone Communicates, but Few Connect, John Maxwell asks these 3 questions. What do you dream about? What do you sing about? And what do you cry about? My dream is for everyone to discover their true passion or their purpose and be confident in fulfilling that purpose. I cry when I see people who don't see their own value, who are lacking that self-confidence. And I sing when they discover it. So draw your attention inward and align your actions with your goals and core beliefs as a way to start a life audit on the right track. The thoughts that we have are a manifestation of our conditioned beliefs, habits, and our pathways. Each scientist has proven that we can be redirected by cultivating more self-awareness. If you're not sure what these desires are, then how do you expect to achieve them? Stephen Covey says that things are created twice, once within our mind and second in our actions. And we all possess that capacity to heal and transform our lives. So now we've talked mission, but now we need to talk about those core values. How do we clarify those core values to ensure that any change or decision made is in alignment with those core values so we can maximize our success. Core values are those fundamental beliefs in which we live our lives. They dictate our behaviors, our decisions, our actions, whether it be consciously or unconsciously. They are our understanding of the difference between right and wrong. So in order to audit your life to a more positive place of authenticity and personal fulfillment, it's crucial to identify those core values. Think of 3 people in your life who influenced you and have influenced the way that you see the world. This can be your starting point for identifying some core values. What do they exemplify? Are they honest? Are they forthcoming? Do they value relationships? When we don't honor our core values, our mental, physical, emotional, and spiritual state is where we experience discomfort. Sometimes this can be obvious, the uncomfortable feeling of knowing some information about a friend who hasn't been quite honest. But the obvious state of unease, which stems from an act we perceive as negative, might suggest that honesty and integrity are high on your list of core values. Types of core values could be your health and well-being. When it's at your core of your personal values, you're more likely to have healthier decisions such as food, drink, exercise, mental stimulation, family relationships. People who value family over other aspects of their lives thrive best in a positive home environment, make decisions based on how they view their family and personal life. Creativity. If you're a creative person, then your art will inhabit an important place among your day-to-day pursuits. And if creativity is a value, that something that's really important to you and you haven't had a chance to do it because of other things in your life, the life audit will expose that and bring that more as an importance. In my resources, I'm going to send you a list of core values that you can take a look and determine, where are mine at? So let's get into our life audit here. So consider most commonly encountered theme to identify is your wants over your needs. What do I need to be happy? Question will always allow you to align closer to your core values. What do you need to be happy? What do I think I need to be happy? These things are usually wants disguised as needs. Are there things that I want which can be done without? And what are those things? So be honest and open. A life audit won't work unless you get used to dealing with some of the uncomfortable stuff that you can bring up. They say success is not made in your comfort zone. Progress is not made there. We have to get a little bit uncomfortable before we can move forward. There are some correlations between needs and core values. The main way to distinguish between them is that needs are generally more immediate and then fleeting than values. It means our day-to-day needs will fluctuate on a daily basis, and our values generally remain the same over time. They're consistent. Relationships. Relationships tend to be a common recurring theme of people's list and core values that need to be reevaluated during life audit. No matter how big or small a person plays in your life, it's important to take the adequate time to consider the quality of your relationships when seeking to make personal changes. The nature of relationships can mean that sometimes a conversation surrounding your life audit and any changes that can be made can be awkward or even cause some pain to surface. Things that may have happened in your life that perhaps you didn't want to address, that brings it up. And if maybe now's the time to address that. As much as you can change your own beliefs, These are things within your control, your own beliefs, your habits, to suit your new lifestyle, what changes you want to make. The fact remains you cannot change another person's opinion or image. Very important to remember. You can control yourself, your attitude, but you cannot control them. So when you're analyzing your current relationships, look objectively at them. Look at your friends groups, your significant others. Take into account dialogue. Is there a general sense of positivity there? Or is there more negativity with those interactions? Are these relationships taking you closer to your core values? One vital thing to any successful relationship is an agreement or similarity of some key core values. And if these are not present, it may be time to make a change in those relationships. Those are tough, but if it's going to move you closer to your ideal life, then it's a decision that will be worthwhile. So let's take a look at conditioned patterns. Conditioned beliefs refer to subconscious beliefs and attitudes that typically we formed as a small child, which can have a direct result on our immediate environment, the people we come into, and our attitudes. For example, when I was young, I assumed every home had a mother and a father. Everyone I knew until I was in first grade had this type of setup. My cousins, other friends. And then I went to school one day and there was a girl, she was new. She only had a mother at home. That was new to me. And then my best friend from childhood, she had a mother and father, but it was a stepfather. These things were foreign to me, but I had conditioned beliefs that everyone had the same, mother and father. We're viewing our world from our own point of view. Stephen Covey calls this a paradigm shift. So if we can start to look at things from a different point of view and change our thoughts and patterns, then it's easier to change our life. No matter what your goal, those conditioned beliefs that we've been raised with can be obstacles when we want to improve our lives. And sometimes they're difficult to identify because they're so ingrained in us. And sometimes it's difficult to accept. So let's take a look at another important element of our daily lives, which impacts our mental and physical health. It's our environment, the place where you live, the space where you sleep, the area you work in, the quality of light, air, sound. All this can influence the perception of our life. During your life audit, think about these various elements of your current living environment and how is it impacting the problems that you've identified to beginning the process of changing. Is your house cluttered? Science has proven that cluttered and messy living space can actually affect our happiness, our clarity, and anxiety levels. Is the environment bright or dark, large or small? They also can impact our overall mentality. How many of you work from home? I think it sounds like both Laura and Miles, you probably do the majority of your work away from home. But how about you, Miles? Okay, I'm having a hard time hearing you. Yeah. And Laura, you work from home a little bit, don't you?
Yeah, I mainly am, with students or, on campus. I just tend to work more at home if it's independent work for planning of coursework or meetings. That's about the only time that I work from home.
Right. And even when we work from home, we have to consider the boundaries that we've set up. Do we have a space that is our own? And then when we leave it, can we go onto our personal lives? So that's another part of our environment. Another part of is just, the stuff we have. Perhaps it's time to take a look and start to purge some of these items. It's always easy to start with our closets. What's hanging out in there? What have we stuffed in there? Have you used it in the past 6 months? Is it time to get rid of? Is it have sentimental or specific memories, but it really isn't useful or practical? Is it time to part with it? Decluttering can help us to create a more clear, more relaxing, spacious environment for you to begin formulating the life that you've always dreamed of. And when you take the time to clean or reorganize a space, take the time to admire it. Be proud of your work. I know that sometimes I'll clean a closet and I'll come back an hour later and open it just to see how nice it looks. Consider systems that you can put into place to stay organized. When my girls were growing up, I called it pile management. When tidying up our communal spaces like the dining room, the living room, the kitchen, anything that belonged to them, I'd put in a pile. And the pile would be close to the hallway or the stairs, close to which would lead to their bedrooms. And they became accustomed to picking up their items and taking them to their room. So there was a team effort that kept my sanity, our communal space clean, and held them responsible. So consider those different systems that you could do to create a space that is inviting and relaxing to you. Career changes. Part of our everyday lives, which can prove to be the most difficult, can come in the form of negative workspaces. So identifying where the problem really lies in your actual job or simply in the environment in which you do it every day can help clarify this. If you've identified your career as an area which causes needless stress and anxiety for you, and not just the space where you work, challenge yourself to tackle some of these issues head on and consider, do you have to stay in that office? Can you work from home? Is it possible to find a new position in a similar field? Do you have the resources, the desire to up skills and change directions completely? Career changes does not mean you have failed, and they don't make you any less skilled. It actually reflects positively on your ability to recognize stressors and parts of your life that are out of alignment with your core values. Ultimately, something that strengthens your value as an employee. If you have a clearer picture of your passion and your impact, you're more likely to perform the job better when you're passionate about it. We have discovered so much about how workplace culture can impact our overall mental and physical state. How many of us have known people who've had physical ailments, and when they left a toxic job, those ailments diminished? And think of the pandemic. Many of us reviewed our priorities and made changes accordingly. We found out that perhaps we didn't need that 9-to-5 job to meet our needs, to fulfill our lives. So consider alternatives if you have to. If the income is necessary, start to plan and make adjustments so that you can make a change down the road and feel secure. So even with all those facts and statistics, it's normal to have some doubts about uprooting everything that you've worked for. And it sounds like both of you are in careers long-term. So ask questions to see if you're still uncertain about the job versus work environment. Does your current job align with your core values? And does it give you a sense of fulfillment? Does your current workspace cause you stress and anxiety just by thinking about it? If you've been gone from work a few days and you're preparing the night before to return to work, how does it make you feel? Can you make any changes to rectify it? Could you orchestrate a way to integrate all this into your work life? Career changes are among the life shifts which aren't usually as straightforward as others. So when you're considering a career change, consider the bigger picture and plan ahead. If it feels overwhelming, search courses or paths of generating income that aligns with your core values and passion. It's a great place to start. Don't close yourself off to possibilities. If it's a career that's causing you stress, that career question, who am I? Try relaxing into the possibility that really you could do anything. We've heard this one before. What would you do if money wasn't an option? Believe yourself capable of starting and achieving anything. More than likely, it'll succeed. Keep in mind that sometimes not making a decision is a decision. If you don't make a decision, someone's going to make that decision for you. So even though it might be difficult, make that decision. Along with core values and passions, consider you're both positive, prioritizing positive physical and mental health during and after your life audit. Without health and well-being, any life changes and experiences will seem less vibrant than they could be if we weren't experiencing them with a full bill of mental and physical health. Sometimes that helps to consider all the things that you could be achieving and all the creativity, passion, and mental energy that you could be putting towards something achieving your goals, if only your mind and body were clear and balanced enough to let the energy flow that way. So if health and well-being are high up on your core values and you aren't taking care of this, your mind and body may be exposed to habits and things that could be negatively impacting them. The good news is that almost all life audits involve improving some area of your health and well-being that are currently not being attended to. So as you're going through the typical areas, ask yourself how each one makes you feel, how it impacts your mental and physical health. It should be a big factor in many of your decisions. Consider your diet. What are you putting into your body? What is the balance of whole natural foods versus processed foods? Exercise or movement. We're going to get more into this in a bit. Stress. What ways do you manage stress? Perhaps it's through exercise, yoga, biking, meditation, prayer, massages, mindfulness. Stress feeds into our full mental health and can be a vicious cycle if not handled well. Think of something that you've been putting off, some task. Maybe it's making a phone call to somebody. And just by putting that off and putting that off, it's actually causing more stress. So take those moves, make that phone call, do whatever that takes, and you'll find almost immediate relief. Sleep. Consider sleep. It's amazing how sleep can affect everything in your life. Insufficient sleep can lead to weight gain, stress, lack of energy. Consider your habits when you go to bed. What's your ritual? Do you keep technology? Do you take it to bed with you? So much of this of your life can be improved with improved sleep. As I mentioned, we're going to talk a little bit more about fitness and health, but taking a 15-minute break for a walk, yoga, quick cardio, it can just clear your mind and rejuvenate you for the rest of the day. So consider these things. Make fitness a priority. You'll go through phases, probably have a dedicated fitness plan for a while, and then all of a sudden you may not have one. And that's okay, it's normal. You want to set small, achievable fitness goals. How many people did you hear this year at the beginning of the year? Oh, I'm going to be working out every day. Well, you can't go from not working out at all to working out every day. That is setting yourself up for failure. So to combat that, consider 10 to 15 minutes a day. Find something that brings you joy, some type of activity, and then push yourself to do a little bit more, then a little bit more. Just start small and then expand. If you haven't considered maximizing fitness and health as part of your life audit, take it into consideration. It doesn't have to be a huge change. Just know that becoming a little bit more aware of how you move your body and what you will take in will ultimately increase your chances of changing your life, and it'll boost the effects of the changes. Consider your goals. When we're younger, vanity tends to be a big thing. We want to look a certain way. Try not to compare yourself with others. Everyone's journey is different. Think about yourself, that self 10 years from now. What do you want your body to be doing? In 10 years, hopefully I'll have grandchildren, and I want to be able to get down on the floor with them and get up. I want to be able to run after them. I want to be able to carry them. Functional fitness is so important. The ability to do basic tasks without injuring ourselves. If you're having a hard time motivating yourself, consider a challenge. Maybe it's a couch to 5K, a bike race. There's maybe a challenge at your gym, a fitness app. Find a fitness buddy. I find it helpful to have some type of a plan to keep my workouts interesting and fun. There are free fitness apps out there. I recommend FitOn, which has fitness programs for all levels. And you can also look at YouTube for free fitness. Yoga with Adriene is one that is recommended and I've used myself. And then consider a digital reset. If you are among the 2.56 billion people, yes, billion people or more who use social media, then you've probably encountered the addictive and damaging nature of constantly being online and how it impacts ourselves and our society. Now, there's no way to hide ourselves from it. It's there, it's all around us. But if we are aware of it, we can make sure that we're not getting stuck with it. Perhaps consider decreasing the amount of time on it, setting a timer, only being on there to reward yourself. In many ways, if you do a digital detox, maybe you'll find that it may not fit into your new life audit plan. I'm sure you can find a way to balance it in order to use it, but yet not have it overtake your life. So once you've established a firm understanding of your core values, what needs to be changed in your life, and you've faced some of these underlying root causes, it's time to make an action plan. It can be tailored to suit you in many ways. Try to keep it simple. The key to a good action plan is be realistic, yet honest and open. You've already written down how you see your ideal life. So now's the time to put your plan into action. I like to use SMART goals. S, specific. What do you want to accomplish? M, measurable. How are you going to measure the progress? And how will you know when you've met that goal? Achievable. Do you have the skills needed? Do you have the motivation needed to reach that goal? Relevant. Why this goal? And does it align with my values and mission? T, for time bound. What is the deadline? And is it a realistic deadline? So consider breaking down your goals into categories. For example, work goals. Perhaps you're going to negotiate a promotion. Relationship goals. Spending more time with parents. Spending more time with friends. Then break that down into how often, what are you going to do? Consider health goals. Another method is the stop, start, more of, less of formula. So you want to perhaps stop procrastinating and overanalyzing. You want to start exercising more every day. You want to make more time for loved ones. And perhaps by doing that, you need to spend less time on social media. So that's the stop, start, more of, or less of. This basic life plan audit is simple, structured, and easy to follow. It doesn't quite get to the root of existing problems, but that's why this action plan is undertaken after the core values and underlying truths have been established. In The Power of Habit, Why Do We Do What We Do in Life and Business by Charles Duhigg, he explores simple changes in our habits which can have great impacts of our lives. Because perhaps you've heard of the definition of insanity, doing the same thing over and over, yet expecting different results. So consider the aspects of your life that you want to change, yet those habits have not changed to reflect those desires. Small adjustments can lead to great success. So there are so many ways that you can start on this path of auditing your life. And it's a very personal path that only you can clearly define. What works for one may not work for another, but remain self-aware and honestly identify issues when they arise in your life examination and action plan. But here are some final tips. Be consistent. If you plan on achieving those changes, consistently follow in these plans. Be honest. Be honest and open with yourself about what you want to achieve, the practical resources available, your belief and your drive to cultivate it is so crucial. Don't lose heart. Something goes wrong because we know something's going to go wrong. Life happens. Don't give up hope. Use this as a learning opportunity. And then from there, propel yourself forward and keep working towards that goal that you know you're capable of achieving. I already mentioned The Power of Habit. I also recommend The 15 Invaluable Laws of Growth by John Maxwell. Law number 1 is the law of intentionality. And law number 5 is the law of consistency. When you're intentional with your actions and consistently follow through, you will see results. You'll be on your way to success in all areas of your life. That's almost all for me today, but it's really the start of something great for you. So take the time to commit, to consider how you can apply this life audit to your life and how you can change for the better. And now I would like to hear a word, how you're feeling right now. Miles, what's a word that, after hearing all this, what word describes you now?
I think I'm very challenged.
Challenge. Good.
But I never did it before, so
Uh-huh.
so it would be something
Good.
that would take additional skill set.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Did you find perhaps one action item that you could apply to your life?
Sure, a lot. There's a lot there. Mm-hmm.
Good. And Laura, what one word would describe you right now?
I would say the word would be hopeful.
Hopeful.
Because of the tools that you provided and putting it in a realistic perspective makes me feel that it's doable, but it's important just to take that first step, because I think that's, if fear drives us to do change of taking that first step, but the tools that you provided really help put it into perspective. And I think the one thing that you had touched upon in your presentation, which was really relevant and resonated as I was listening to you speak, was no decision is a decision, especially because I've been contemplating, where I'm at in my personal and professional career at this time.
Yes. I'm I've seen that happen with myself, that perhaps I've put off making a decision. And because I've put off making that decision, perhaps that opportunity slipped out of my hands, or maybe someone else took the opportunity. But when we don't make a decision, either that's our decision or someone else makes a decision for us that may not be the one we wanted. It's we have to be confident to move ourselves forward and know that we have the skills. If that opportunity came to us, we obviously we have the skills to do it. Other insight from Miles or Laura, or any questions, comments?
Virginia, I think one of the things that you had said, which kind of elaborating on your last statement, is when I had made the statement of, a decision is no decision. I think what sometimes it comes down, at least for me, and it may be for most individuals, is just that fear of taking that first step, because I think we get very comfortable in a position that we're in, regardless of, what is happening in our culture or environment. And many times we know internally it's a toxic environment, and there's really no further opportunity for us to grow or develop, and we realize it. But to make that change, depending on where we're at in our lives, there's also, like, it's going to be that fear of rejection when you transition into another position. So I know that's part of what prevents me from moving outward. Am I going to have the skill set? How are people going to perceive me? Because I'm pretty comfortable in the job that I do now. So I think it's fear sometimes is in the back of our minds, and that rejection.
Yes, absolutely. What could help is if we have someone that we feel confident enough to share those fears with, to talk through. Also, your spiritual life. If you have a spiritual life, perhaps that's an opportunity to meditate on those thoughts and decisions. If you believe in a God, if you believe in, perhaps it's a time to talk to him too. But we have to realize we're not alone. And perhaps there's someone who's been through the same thing that you've been through, that they could help you. Even just someone listening. That's so important, to find that right person to listen. And when we verbalize, then it starts to make sense. In our mind, it may not always make sense, but typically when we verbalize, then it starts to make sense. And we'll usually find the answer within us. So I encourage you to find that person, to take the time to evaluate where those concerns are.
For me, I live in New York City, I work in New York City, so I've always been doing 2 jobs. Sleep is always a major thing. I work night and evenings. So I'm on the verge of restructuring myself to work less hours on my night job. I'm going to do weekends because I'm embarking on a new position in my other job next month.
Oh, good.
So it's a lot to do, a lot of changes. So I hope it's something I must do, something I must. Thanks for giving me a structure here that I can work with.
Certainly. And that's wonderful that you've recognized that sleep is important. And hopefully with your new opportunity that's going to be starting next month, and being able to reduce the hours for your other job.
Yes.
And that will help with your overall health and mental being, I'm sure.
I'm sure, thanks.
Yeah, that's wonderful. Any other last remarks or comments? I appreciate you both coming today. I learned a little bit from each of you. Hopefully you learned a little bit from me.
Yes, thank you, Virginia, for your wisdom and your insight.
Thanks. In 2 weeks, I will be offering another lunch and learn, and this one will be on the 15 invaluable laws of growth. It's another free one. I will email that information to each of you too when I send you the resources.
Thank you so much. I'm usually off on Friday, so
That works well for you.
yes, thanks.
Yes, me too. So this worked well on a Friday.
Wonderful.
So,
Wonderful.
I'm hopeful to see you in 2 weeks. So
Thank you.
thank you so much. Have a wonderful day.
Thank you both. You both have a wonderful day, and reach out if you just need someone to listen to you or help you along that path that you're doing. And I wish you both success in the future.
Thank you. Best wishes to you, Miles, in your new venture.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Have a wonderful day.
All right, take care.
Thank you.
How do I pronounce your name? Amora?
Yeah, it's Laura.
Laura. Thanks. Okay, Laura, Virginia.
Thank you, Miles.
Thank
Have a
you.
wonderful day. Thank you so much.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.